Let me tell you a real truth most people don't want to hear. Being stuck doesn't mean you're lazy. Being broke doesn't mean you're stupid. Being broke doesn't mean you're weak. Most of the time, it means you're early. It means you're building something nobody can see yet. And that phase right there, that quiet season, that's where most people fold. They quit because the results didn't come fast. They doubt themselves because nobody clapped. They start chasing shortcuts instead of mastering the long road. If you're watching this feeling like you've been grinding but nothing changed, I see you. If you've been doing the right things with no recognition, I feel that. But understand this: rare outcomes come from rare patience. Ownership takes time. Vision takes faith. Discipline takes sacrifice. You don't become different by doing what everybody else does. You separate yourself by staying solid when it's boring, when it's lonely, when nobody believes but you. This moment you're in right now isn't punishment, it's preparation. And if you don't run from it, it's about to change everything. Nobody sees the early sacrifice. That line sounds simple, but it carries weight when you really live it. What it means is this: every meaningful outcome starts in a phase where you're giving more than you're getting. You're investing time, money, energy, and belief with no applause, no confirmation, no guarantee. You're waking up early, staying up late, turning down comfort, and choosing discipline while the world moves like nothing is happening. From the outside, it looks like you're stuck. From the inside, you're laying bricks, quietly, deliberately, one at a time. When you're building something from nothing, the sacrifice isn't just physical, it's emotional. It's telling people no when they don't understand why you're saying yes to your vision. It's working a job you don't love so you can fund the thing you do. It's learning skills on your own because nobody is coming to teach you. That early stage doesn't come with validation, and that's the point. It's designed to test whether you really believe in what you're building or you just like the idea of success. Most people fail right here, not because they aren't capable, but because they expect witnesses too early. They want proof before the process is finished. They want recognition before results exist. And when that recognition doesn't come, doubt creeps in. They start comparing timelines. They start questioning the plan. They start listening to people who never took a risk themselves. Slowly, the discipline slips. The sacrifice feels pointless. And eventually, they walk away right before momentum would have shown up. Another reason people fail is because early sacrifice feels unfair. You're doing the work, but someone else seems to be winning faster. Social media makes it worse. You see highlights, not the grind. You see outcomes, not the years behind them. If you don't have a strong internal compass, that comparison will break you. You'll start chasing shortcuts. You'll abandon ownership for quick checks. And once you do that, you trade long-term freedom for short-term relief. The mindset shift required is understanding that invisibility is not a problem. It's protection. When nobody's watching, you're free to make mistakes, learn and refine without pressure. You can focus on mastery instead of image. You can build substance instead of noise. Early sacrifice isn't about proving anything to the world. It's about proving something to yourself. It's about knowing you can stay consistent without external rewards. You have to stop measuring progress by attention and start measuring it by alignment. Are you better than you were last month? Do you understand your craft deeper than you did last year? Are you owning more of your time, your skills, your decisions? That's real progress. It doesn't trend, it compounds. Applying this daily is simple, but it's not easy. You show up whether you feel motivated or not. You do the work even when the results are delayed. You invest in skills that pay later, not pleasures that fade fast. You track your growth quietly. You protect your vision from people who don't need access to it. You accept that boredom is part of mastery and loneliness is part of leadership. You don't complain about the weight, you get stronger so you can carry it. Daily sacrifice also means discipline with your environment, who you listen to, what you consume, how you spend idle time. Early on, wasted hours are expensive. You don't have margin yet. Every choice either feeds the vision or stars it. That awareness sharpens you. It forces you to move with intention. Here's the real conclusion: no hype attached. If you can respect the early sacrifice, you earn the right to something rare. Not overnight success, not viral moments, but ownership, stability, control. A life where your effort answers to your vision, not someone else's schedule. Most people never get there because they quit when nobody's watching. If you stay disciplined in the dark, the light eventually finds you, and when it does, it won't change you. It'll just reveal what you've already built. What consistency beats talent every time really means is that natural ability will only take you so far. Talent is flashy. It turns heads. People notice it, but without consistency, it fades. Talent without discipline is like a spark in the wind. It looks promising for a moment, but it doesn't light a fire that lasts. Consistency is showing up when you don't feel like it, doing the work when nobody is watching, repeating your process day after day, year after year. That's how you turn potential into results and results into ownership of your life. Real winners aren't defined by who's the most naturally gifted. They're defined by who's willing to put in the work consistently, even when the world doubts them, even when the progress is invisible. Most people fail here because they overvalue talent and undervalue the grind. They see someone with natural skill getting attention and think they have to keep up with bursts of brilliance instead of building habits that compound. They start strong, full of energy and excitement, but as soon as the initial motivation fades, so does the effort. Results aren't instant. They don't show up like magic. And when the first signs of struggle hit, they quit. They fail because they're looking for a shortcut to success rather than trusting the slow, steady process. Talent can get doors open, but consistency is what keeps them open. The mindset shift required is to stop idolizing instant success and start respecting your own schedule and rhythm. You have to fall in love with the process more than the outcome. You have to understand that every small repeated action compounds over time. Every day you put in the work, you're building a foundation. It may not feel like much now, but 5 years from now, it becomes unshakable. Consistency is not glamorous. It's boring. It's repetitive. But it's also the quiet engine that separates those who talk about winning from those who actually do. You have to embrace discipline as a lifestyle, not a strategy you pull out when you feel inspired. Applying this daily means you show up even when motivation is absent. It means setting routines and sticking to them. If you're learning a skill, that might be practicing 1 hour a day every day without excuses. If you're building a business, it's the emails, the calls, the research, the small tasks that add up, even when nobody applauds. If you're trying to improve yourself physically or mentally, it's the workouts, the reading, the reflection, the sacrifices nobody sees. You have to create systems that make consistency inevitable and remove reliance on mood or circumstance. Keep score quietly. Track your growth. Respect the process. That's how small, disciplined steps turn into breakthroughs. Here's the reality: talent may get you a head start, but if you quit tomorrow, it won't matter. Consistency always wins in the long run. Look at the people who built something rare from nothing. They weren't always the most naturally gifted. They didn't rely on luck or inspiration. They relied on showing up day after day, putting in work even when it felt slow, even when results were delayed. That's what turns a dream into a legacy. When you embrace this, your grind stops being a chore and starts being a strategy. Every day becomes a brick in the house you're building for your future. And the best part, nobody can take it from you once it's built. Talent fades, consistency lasts. If you commit to this principle, you'll start seeing something rare. You'll start outpacing people who rely only on skill. You'll be prepared when opportunity knocks because your habits have trained you for it. You'll build respect not just from others, but from yourself. Consistency beats talent every time because it's not just about what you can do in a moment. It's about what you can sustain for a lifetime. Show up every day, repeat your work, trust the process. The results will follow, and when they do, they'll last. What ownership is the real freedom really means is understanding that freedom isn't about living without rules or working less. Freedom comes when you control your life, your work, your decisions, and your resources. It's when the results of your effort belong to you, not someone else. If you're building from nothing, this is critical to understand. Renting your time or talent forever keeps you dependent, keeps you limited. You might make money, but someone else owns the leverage. Real freedom is having your hands on the steering wheel, owning your business, your intellectual property, your investments, your skills, so that your life moves according to your vision, not someone else's priorities. That's ownership. And that's the only type of freedom that lasts. Most people fail here because they trade control for convenience. They take jobs or opportunities where someone else sets the rules, thinking it's safer or faster. They focus on short-term income instead of long-term stake. They settle for being good employees, followers, or participants when they could be building something they truly own. And over time, they realize that no matter how talented they are, their freedom is limited. Their schedule, their decisions, their opportunities are always filtered through someone else's control. The early sacrifices of ownership, risk, patience, delayed rewards feel heavier than the temporary comfort of a steady paycheck or someone else's plan. That's why most people never reach it. The mindset shift required is learning to value control over comfort. You have to see ownership as the path to true independence. It's understanding that when you build something that belongs to you, the pressure is heavier at first, but the payoff is real and lasting. You start to think in terms of legacy and leverage instead of just immediate results. Every decision is measured against how it contributes to what you can fully claim as yours. You stop chasing validation or approval from others because your focus is on building something that cannot be taken from you. Ownership is not just financial, it's emotional, intellectual, and operational. When you own your time, your knowledge, and your skills, no one can dictate your life. Applying this daily means making deliberate choices that increase your control. It could be starting your own business, creating a side hustle, developing skills that make you indispensable, or investing in assets instead of spending recklessly. It means saying no to situations where you give away your time, energy, or ideas without fair return. It's protecting your focus and refusing to outsource your ambition to someone else's timeline. Ownership also shows up in discipline, doing the work consistently, learning how to manage money, negotiating fairly, and taking accountability for results. Every action should bring you closer to a life where you answer to no one but yourself. Here's the reality. Most people never feel real freedom because they never own anything that matters. They trade years of their life to someone else's vision. But those who understand ownership can make choices others can't. They have leverage in business, respect in relationships, and peace of mind in life. Ownership gives patience meaning because you know the delayed payoff is yours alone. You don't need applause or permission. You don't need luck. You just need discipline, foresight, and a willingness to carry responsibility. Freedom isn't given, it's earned, and it's earned by taking ownership. So if you're building from nothing, remember this: every small stake you claim matters. Every skill you master, every dollar you invest, every project you see through, those are steps toward ownership. And the more you own, the freer you become. It's not about escaping work, it's about making the work yours. That's the power of ownership. That's the real freedom. And the people who understand this, who embrace it quietly and consistently, will create lives that can't be touched. Lives that are rare. Lives that matter. What delayed results don't mean failure really means is understanding that progress is rarely instant and success is rarely immediate. When you're building something from nothing, whether it's a business, a skill, or a personal vision, the rewards often take time to show up. That delay can feel frustrating, even discouraging, but it does not mean that your effort is wasted. It means you are in the process of building a foundation that will hold long-term growth. Real achievement is not measured by how quickly you get there. It's measured by whether you endure long enough to see it through. Patience, discipline, and persistence are the currencies of delayed results, and mastering them separates the people who succeed from the people who quit. Most people fail at this point because they confuse time with failure. They want evidence of progress in the short term, and when it doesn't appear, doubt creeps in. They see peers gaining attention, making moves, or getting results faster, and they question their own path. Some even abandon their vision entirely because the early work doesn't look like success. Social media amplifies this problem. Everyone's showing highlights. Nobody shows the quiet grind. The truth is, delayed results are normal. They're part of the process. If you stop now, the failure becomes real. If you endure, you'll realize the delay was a part of the design, not a sign that you chose the wrong path. The mindset shift required is to stop measuring progress solely by immediate outcomes and start measuring it by your consistency and your control over your growth. You have to trust the compounding effect of your effort. Every skill you learn, every relationship you nurture, every dollar you invest, and every habit you build is working quietly in the background. You must internalize that the process itself is producing results that aren't yet visible. It's about trusting yourself more than you trust the scoreboard. You have to shift from seeking validation to honoring the work even when the payoff is delayed. When you embrace delayed results as part of your plan, you stop chasing shortcuts and start building permanence. Applying this daily means showing up whether you feel immediate reward or not. It means doing the work even when nobody notices, even when the numbers haven't changed, even when your patience is tested. For an entrepreneur, it could be making calls, refining products, or learning the market without immediate sales. For someone learning a skill, it's practicing every day, even when improvement seems invisible. For personal growth, it's sticking to routines, building discipline, and making smart choices long before you see their effects. Delayed results also require reflection, tracking your growth quietly, noting the small wins, and reminding yourself that each step compounds into something bigger. The effort itself is a promise to your future self. Here's the reality: success is rarely a sudden windfall. Most of the people who achieve something rare went through years of work that nobody saw. They faced setbacks, criticism, and invisible days where it felt like nothing was moving. But those invisible days were the incubators for their eventual breakthroughs. If you quit because the results are delayed, you'll never see the reward. Delayed results don't mean failure. They mean preparation, refinement, and endurance. They separate the temporary participants from the long-term builders. So if you're building from nothing, remember this: every day you show up, every small effort, every disciplined action is contributing to your outcome, even if you can't see it yet. Don't trade short-term frustration for long-term gain. Trust your process, honor your work, and respect the time it takes to build something that lasts. Delayed results are not the enemy. They're the quiet proof that your foundation is being laid, your skills are growing, and your vision is coming to life. Stay the course. Grind in silence. The results will arrive, and when they do, they'll be undeniable, permanent, and yours because you never quit when it mattered most. What respect yourself enough to stay disciplined really means is this: discipline is not about following rules someone else wrote. Discipline is about honoring yourself and your vision. It's about making choices today that reflect the person you want to become tomorrow. When you respect yourself, you understand that your time, energy, and talent are valuable. You don't waste them on distractions, excuses, or quick fixes. You hold yourself accountable to your goals, even when no one is watching, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it would be easier to give in to temptation. Respecting yourself enough to stay disciplined is the foundation of building anything rare, because without it, vision is nothing but a wish. Most people fail at this point because discipline feels like a sacrifice in the moment. It requires saying no to things that feel good now but cost you later. It requires consistency, even when motivation is gone. Many people allow external pressure, laziness, or instant gratification to override their long-term vision. They think discipline is about strict rules or self-denial, and when it gets hard, they quit. They fail to connect the daily choices with the person they want to become. Without that connection, discipline feels arbitrary, and the work loses meaning. That's why so many dreams die, not because the goal was impossible, but because respect for oneself wasn't strong enough to fuel consistent action. The mindset shift required is understanding that discipline is self-respect in action. It's not punishment. It's not about controlling yourself because someone told you to. It's about valuing your future self enough to invest in them today. Every time you resist distraction, procrastination, or bad habits, you're sending a message to yourself: I am worth the effort. I am worth patience. I am worth the grind. When you internalize that, discipline becomes a tool of empowerment, not a chore. You stop relying on willpower alone, and you start relying on respect for yourself and for the life you're building. That mindset changes how you approach work, relationships, money, and time. Applying this daily is about creating systems and habits that reflect your respect for yourself. It's showing up to work even when you don't feel like it. It's maintaining routines that build skills, wealth, and character. It's protecting your energy from people, situations, or behaviors that undermine your goals. It's holding yourself accountable for promises you make to yourself, because those promises matter more than anyone else's opinion. Even small acts, waking up early, focusing fully on a task, eating and moving in ways that serve your body, are expressions of self-respect through discipline. Every day you follow through, you reinforce the message that you are serious about your life. Here's the reality: most people never achieve their potential because they don't respect themselves enough to stay disciplined. They look for motivation outside themselves. They wait for circumstances to be perfect, or they abandon their plan when the process gets uncomfortable. But respect for yourself doesn't depend on conditions. It depends on choice. Every action you take, every habit you form, every boundary you enforce either builds your future or erodes it. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. and respect is the fuel that keeps that bridge strong. So if you're building something from nothing, remember this: staying disciplined is not about instant rewards or public approval. It's about valuing yourself enough to invest consistently, even when no one else is watching. Every disciplined decision compounds over time into skills, confidence, opportunities, and ownership. When you respect yourself enough to stay disciplined, you protect your vision, you honor your future, and you create a life that can't be taken from you. That's how rare outcomes are made. That's how legacies are built. Stay disciplined. Respect yourself. Keep going. Here's how you know you're on the right path. It requires discipline when nobody's watching. It demands consistency when motivation disappears. It forces you to say no to distractions that feel good but cost you everything later. That's self-respect. That's maturity. That's growth. You don't need approval. You don't need permission. You don't need to explain your vision to people who don't share your hunger. Keep showing up. Keep learning. Keep stacking skills, stacking ownership, stacking belief. Even on the days it feels slow, you're still moving forward. Most people will quit before they ever get close. You won't, because you understand this isn't about luck. It's about longevity. Lock in. Stay disciplined. Build something that outlives the noise. If you're seeing this, you're not here by accident. You're here because it's time to do something rare.